You're listening to Winnipeg's Classic 107. My name is Simon Rusnak. Sunday, Virtuosi Concerts returns with their first concert of the new year, Serpentine Paths, featuring Edmonton Symphony Orchestra's concertmaster, Robert Uchida, and principal cellist, Rafael Hoekman. The program brings together two exceedingly popular instruments that are, rather shockingly, rarely heard as a duo. To tell us a little bit more, Rafael has joined me. Welcome to Winnipeg's Classic 107.
Great to be here. Thank you very much.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. And I guess I should begin with a little apology to all the other members of the string family. But violin and cello really are the two favorite siblings, at least of composers, aren't they, Rafael?
Yeah, I guess, if you look at the sort of solo repertoire that there is for all classical music, I guess you'd have to say piano is in first place in terms of how many solo, like concerto, let's say just how many concertos there are for it. And then violin is in second place, but pretty close, lots of amazing music. You have huge work by Tchaikovsky, Brahms, Beethoven, Schubert. It's just a very rich. And then I guess cello really is sort of in third place, but it's pretty far behind. But definitely way ahead of the viola and the double bass. So and then like I say, the duo genre is doesn't have it doesn't have Beethoven, it doesn't have Mozart, it doesn't have the violin, cello, the cello. What we do, but where you have those great composers, those great genius composers writing, is in the string quartet and also the string trio and the piano trio. But yeah, we Robert and I, a few years ago, we decided we would present the Kodai duo, which is really the crown jewel of this particular arrangement of violin and cello.
Yeah.
And since then we've developed a rapport, and we developed a larger sort of repertoire, and we've branched out into arrangements and different styles, and also we're working on commissions and new works as well.
So just before we get further into the repertoire that you'll be performing this weekend, you mentioned the Kodai, but even going through it and glossing over it there, I mean, there just isn't a lot of repertoire there for the two instruments as a duo. Like you say, there's often some added strings with another violin and viola, or a piano to make a trio. But why do you think it is? Why do you think there isn't a lot of music for just violin and cello? Can you put your finger on it?
Well, I guess if you look at the history of music in terms of what the history of the cello is as a solo instrument, it doesn't really come into its own until perhaps composer like Boccherini, or as a solo instrument, and so from that point of view, the function is only really harmonic and rhythmic and accompanimental. And then we do have, once we get to the time of Beethoven, Beethoven, for his five cello sonatas are really the first really big pieces where the cello isn't just playing the left hand of the piano or something like that. Really, it's a much more dominant and equal partnership with the piano, especially the last three sonatas. And I guess once we get to the time of Haydn, the string quartet form is pretty attractive to composers, right? I mean, there's so many possibilities with that. So when they have the opportunity to write some string music or a piece like that, they're gonna, it's like, oh wow, I can do so much with the string quartet. And so and I guess they may seem like just the violin and the cello may be a little bit limiting compared to that, or even the string trio where you have that inner voice with the viola. So I guess there is more music out there to discover for violin and cello. I think some of it's pretty difficult.
Well,
so if the music is very difficult, it's not going to be played so often, so much, except by professionals.
Well, that's exactly.
So, there's the Kodai, which is really well written, idiomatic piece, which I think is the reason why it's definitely a staple for people to play violin and cello duo together. And then there's the Ravel sonata, which is, I have to say, much more difficult and much less idiomatically written, especially the cello part. But it's, it's on our list of things to present as well. And then after that, really, it's mostly arrangements. There's a Schulhoff duo, and then there's contemporary works. But we're also we're going to present a new piece by Jocelyn Morlock, who's a wonderful West Coast based Canadian composer, and she
Manitoba's own.
Yeah. Oh, is she Manitoba? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, went to Brandon University.
Oh, well, yeah. Perfect. That's great. I always thought of her as a BC person, but
she has been there for a while, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's where she's based, but I didn't know she's from Manitoba. So many great musicians come out of Manitoba. I mean, James Ennis, Yeah,
there's another Brandon connection too.
That's right. Yeah. But yeah, it's that repertoire is definitely a little bit less rich. But we're having fun exploring it, and like I said, arrangements and new works and different styles,
And all of that is going to be on display in your program, Serpentine Paths, that takes its name from the Jocelyn Morlock piece that was composed for the Mercer sisters and recently premiered, I think, back in 2019 or thereabouts. If you're just tuning in, I'm chatting with Rafael Hoekman, who is coming to town, to Winnipeg, to perform alongside Robert Uchida in the first concert in Virtuosi's 2022 back half of the season. I want to use that Serpentine Path idea, Rafael, to transition to your own path, which I think for a while snaked its way through Winnipeg. Did it not, about a decade ago?
Yeah, it was, it seems like a long time ago now. Yeah, for 2009 till 2011, I was assistant principal cellist of the Winnipeg Symphony, actually. And it was, perhaps a bit of a short but sweet time. I had wonderful experiences there before moving on to Calgary, and I joined the Calgary Philharmonic. And now these last 7 years, I've been principal cello of the Edmonton Symphony, which is, like I said before, it's to another interviewer, it's not been a linear path. I actually grew up in St. John's, Newfoundland, and made my way from there to Montreal for studies, and then Toronto after that for studies. In Toronto for a long time, did a lot of work with string quartet and with a lot of freelancing orchestral work. Had several smaller jobs in that area orchestrally, but then a family got started. And it became apparent that to really support that family and be in a sort of a lifestyle that was a little more conducive to that, less traveling, I had to settle into a more full-time job, which was the reason I chose Winnipeg the first time. And but then other opportunities came, and it seemed a little stronger this way or that way, and but now I'm in Edmonton, which is actually just an incredible spot to be in. Principal cello, lots of solo, lots of teaching, lots of opportunities to present things like this duo concert with Robert, and having Robert as a colleague has been an incredible gift to my professional life and personal life. We're quite good friends. Families actually hang out a lot together. He has a couple of kids a little younger than mine, and so yeah.
It's wonderful when those paths can cross and intertwine. And I mean, that other interviewer you mentioned isn't just an interview. It's artistic director of Virtuosi, Jennifer Thiessen. Right. She gave a great pre-show chat, a chat in which I also learned that Robert spent time here at the University of Manitoba. So you both have a connection to Winnipeg. Right. I mean, the last thing I want to ask you, Rafael, is, we've been chatting about the sort of lack of repertoire for the two instruments, despite how popular these two instruments are. So what made you two think that it would be a good idea to come together as a duo? Was there something that really got you started performing together? Or was it just you happen to get along and let's make some music together?
Yeah, I think, we became, Robert arrived here in Edmonton just before me, maybe I think two years or year and a half or something like that. And then I was hired as principal cellist, and I guess I can't speak for him, but you know, early on when I arrived here, I went to this recital where he played he played a sort of a duo concert with our then music director, Bill Eddins. And, you know, my jaw pretty much hit the floor. I was like, wow, this guy's just unbelievable. Like, I can't, you know, I wonder if we could play together, you know, and it just sort of blossomed from there. And I think we've gotten along quite well musically and personally over these last few years. And I think we wanted to, we have played a lot of different chamber music things. We've played trios, we've played some quartets, we've played some quintets, a lot of that in little concerts over the years. And of course, we've also worked together in the orchestra. One of our favorite things to do together is to play the Four Seasons, where he plays all the Four Season Vivaldi violin concertos, and I have a sort of a solo line there as well as the principal cello playing the continuo part, and we've even done some videos of that. But it's like a favorite thing for us to do, and it's I think we just wanted to develop that partnership even further and more intimately together with and I think it was really born out of one particular time. Decided we would play the Kodai because it's just such a wonderful piece, and it really just sort of sprung forth from there to continue working together in that very intimate and detailed way.
Well, so excited that you'll be sharing your talents with us here in Winnipeg. Returning back to Winnipeg Sunday. Rafael, thanks so much for taking the time to chat with me at Classic 107 today.
It's my pleasure.